Hey everybody, Spooky Doll Lady Chris. I'm gonna do a short stream today. I honestly debated even streaming. It's my birthday week and I'm kind of tired, and I was just gonna take the rest of the week off. Um, but I have stuff to do, and I figured I might as well do it on camera. um, okay, so the plan for today, I want to make the little teeth to go inside of these two faces. I have my epoxy sculpt here. Um, and then whatever time I have left, I'm only planning on streaming for like an hour and a half at the longest. So whatever time I have left, I want to start sketching out their faces because they're going to be a bit more complicated. So just a reminder of what I'm going to be doing for those. I'm going to be doing this design for Abby, and well, I'm going to have to put it upside down to get it in screen, but this one for Effie. So Abby's is the one that's really going to need more of the sketching to get those spider webs just right. But that's the plan for today. If I get to the adding colors, I want to work a little bit more on Edgar. Let me just close this. So I had started his little shadowy eyes. I want to start adding shading to the rest of his face if there's time. And I think I'm probably not going to get to this little one today, unfortunately. Because I still need to do the freckles, and I want to do them, like, by flicking a brush. And that's something I really think I would rather do outside so I can make more of a mess. And, you know, it's been snowing and then raining. It was my birthday snow. I don't know why I was surprised. There's always snow on my birthday here. Let's see. Yeah, so that's it. So I'm gonna get started mixing a little bit of epoxy for these teeth. Let me just grab out a couple of sculpting tools first. So I'm gonna want I want my X-Acto with the longer blade. So this one. And I'm going to want an angled flat tool and a needle tool. Which, oh, not that one. I know it's on the end of one of my other angled flat tools, I believe. There we go. Okay, there's my little needle tool. Okay, that's it. Not a whole lot of tools for this one because it's such a small area. There's very few that'll actually get in where I need. I also want, where's my flat one? Here we go. Oh, nope, not that one. Yeah, this one. My little flat sculptor. And I think that's it. Let me just make sure none of these little tools have a needle bit on the end, because then I can put that one away. Nope, just that one. Okay. Alright. Get some blueberry wine here. Gloves because I don't want to ruin my awesome new shirt by getting epoxy sculpt on it. This is my new favorite shirt. You can see all the little faces on the sleeve and then all the faces on here. Yeah, my cool new Junji Ito shirt. Okay, So, get my sleeves up, gloves on. So these already have a little bit of epoxy on them because I was mixing epoxy for another project. I kind of hoard gloves. Gloves are still a little bit hard to come by right now. Not nearly as hard as they were at like the start of 2020, but locally I can kind of sort of find them like 50% of the time, so I don't like to run out. So yeah, if I only have like 4 fingers that are dirty like this, I'm not gonna throw away a pair of gloves. Okay, I need to scoop out some... Ooh. Okay, well, when you order the gigantic bulk packs of stir sticks, sometimes you get some that are a little toasted. So we'll not use that one because I think it's going to snap in half if I try to scoop epoxy out with that. So I really just need a very small amount to do teeth into faceplates. So I'm going to take about that much, and this is probably even too much. But with epoxy, I'd just rather have too much than not enough. Alright, and then flip the stick over and use the other side because you're never supposed to use the same tool to scoop out epoxy because it can start to process inside of the containers if it touches, if the two parts touch. Alright, so I think I might have taken just a tiny bit too much of the dark gray, so I'm going to take a little bit of that and put it back. So that looks about the same. So I'm just going to start mixing that until it's completely mixed together. So I know I had planned on streaming this weekend. I kind of just ended up not doing it because I had gone out twice last week for my birthday. Once with my mom and once with friends. And I think between the weather changes, because it went from like 70... I think it was almost 70 degrees. I think it wasn't quite 70 degrees out, but it was warm. It was like 70-ish to snowing within 2 days. I think between the dramatic weather changes and me being out twice in the same week, my body just decided to shut down. I had a couple of really, really awful pain days over the weekend, so I basically sat on my couch and did nothing since Saturday. Well, I did go out to the movies with my mom instead of birthday dinner because I didn't feel like sitting in a restaurant. I wanted to see the Batman movie. I figured that would be a better distraction on a really bad pain day than food. And it was awesome. Definitely my new favorite Batman movie. My new favorite Batman. So yeah, if you haven't seen the new Batman movie, definitely go see the new Batman movie because it was freaking awesome. But yeah, I did that, and then the rest of the weekend just came home and like sat on my couch because everything hurt. And then yesterday I pretty much just sat on my couch again, and I got the David Tennant collection of Doctor Who for my birthday. So I just was watching Doctor Who on my birthday yesterday on my couch. Or not yesterday, Monday. Or no, it was yesterday. I got it Monday night and I watched it yesterday, which was Tuesday. See, my brain is still, I'm not really coherent yet. I still really do need another day of rest, but I was bored. I'm never good at just like sitting and resting. Okay, so now that that's mixed, I'm going to take these off because since I'm working with such tiny pieces, I really need to make sure that I'm not leaving glove prints on things. Set that aside. So I'm going to split this in half. Oh yeah, I feel like these pieces might have even been a bit too much. But we'll see. Okay, so just going to push it through that little hole in here. And kind of flatten it. Here, maybe if I turn it upside down. So I'm going to flatten it around here first to get it to really adhere. And then I'm going to sort of carve the teeth out of the bit that's showing. And this is not sticking. I don't know what I was thinking. I have to sand it first. Also, epoxy needs like 5 minutes to really start to get sticky. So I'm going to sand the insides of the mouths really quick while I wait for the epoxy to become sticky. I don't really know how to say that without sounding dirty. It needs to get sticky. So I'm just going to take one of my little tools and just sort of scratch around because I need to make the surface more rough so that the epoxy will adhere to it. I don't know if I'm even going to be able to get the camera to pick this up just because of the crappy lighting in this room once again. Which is another reason I'm doing a short stream today, because this light outside is going to disappear soon. And it wasn't very impressive to begin with. Alright, so I don't know. I think you can kind of see now how it's a rougher surface right there. Right above the hole where I was trying to attach it to a second ago. So I'm going to do the same thing to this other one. Just get it nice and scratchy. I keep feeling like I have a hair or something tickling the end of my nose. It's probably a rabbit fur because they get everywhere. Oh, what am I doing? My lights over here. Alright, so I think that's good enough. And I did also take the twins' faceplates out to my garage and spray them with MSC beforehand so they're fully ready to be drawn on, sketched on, what have you, as soon as I get the teeth in place. A little bit of schmutz on there. There we go. I swear I can see pencil lines, but I know it's just it's just my imagination. Yeah, I don't see them on the camera, so I think it's just residual shiny spots from where the pencil was. But that's okay because the multiple layers of MSC to seal all the makeup on will smooth that out. Okay, so insides of the mouths are all scratchy and ready to be adhered to. My epoxy is starting to get sticky, so we should be good to go now. Take two. So I'm going to flatten that in there. And it should stick better this time. Oh, I have to get some of it through that hole first, I think. There we go. Alright, so I do want it to stick out like that for now. It looks a little goofy at the moment. It will look normal, I promise. I have done this before. I'm by no means an expert, but I have done open mouths with teeth several times now, and they always come out looking okay. It just starts out looking goofy. There's no way around that. Alright, so that is pretty well stuck on there. And you won't really be able to see it from the front. So I'm going to sculpt the teeth into this bit that's sticking out. I'm going to push that back and sculpt on it, but I want to let it sit for a few minutes so that it can really stick itself to the plastic first. In fact, you know what? I just had an idea. I bet if I put in between these I bet if I put some of this liquid Sculpey onto the bit that I scratched up, that will help it stick even better. And this, again, liquid Sculpey I got from my Nerdy Crafter kit. So just further proving that this kit has uses well beyond just the figures included. Because I don't know if I mentioned or not, but the epoxy that I mixed from today, the little jars, also came from that kit. I have large jars of epoxy, but I didn't want to pull those out just to take like a pea-sized amount of epoxy sculpt. Oh, this already feels so much nicer and smoother. Oh my gosh. I bet this is going to work so well. Alright. And this little piece just came out, but that was left in there, which is pretty much the size that I need to work with, so I'm not going to worry about it. I'm assuming, oh yeah, that's whatever was in there before I peeled the backs off. So that'll probably just end up being extra. So I'm going to do the same thing and just push this into the plastic. Try and get it to stick down really nicely. Oh no, not hiccups. I've had like 3 sips of wine. I don't usually get hiccups from alcohol, but when I do, it's always wine. I don't know why. But I like wine, so I'm not going to let hiccups stop me. It just might be awkward once I start playing Visage and I'm supposed to be all scared and I'm instead hiccuping. Oh well. Alright. Now I was extra prepared today and I grabbed myself my damp rag to clean everything between steps. Which was a step that I forgot in, I think, my last few streams. So I tried to be more prepared this time. Alright, I'm just wiping off any of the liquid sculpt that got through onto the front. Because I don't know what that's going to do as far as messing with the MSC, if it's going to ruin the tooth and I won't be able to sketch onto the faces. I mean the tooth of the MSC, not the tooth of the teeth that I'm sculpting. Alright, oh, first time chatter, hello, Pally63. Thank you for the happy birthday. I am doing well today. I'm a little tired, so I'm keeping it shorter today than usual, but I'm having a good day. So, I figured if I'm gonna be working, I might as well turn my camera on. Alright, so I got all of the liquid Sculpey that kind of came through to the front. So I don't know how well I'm going to be able to do teeny tiny sculpting of teeth on camera. I'm going to have to move my camera and it may freeze, so I may have to reset it really quick. Because I'm going to pull them. I really need to have them like right in front of me. Who did I did Abby's first. Okay, so Abby's should be more stuck and ready to be sculpted. Alright, so first tool I'm going to use is just my flat sculptor. And I'm just going to push this area up here away from the lips a little bit. Just to make it really obvious that the teeth are not part of her lips. So I don't know if I'm getting that on camera. Doing my best here. Still a tiny bit of liquid Sculpey, so I'm just going to try and get that out of there. Okay. And then I'm going to take my needle tool and scrape off anything that did not get pushed back. Today or in general? Today I've been on for 20 minutes, but I've been doing these dolls for, I think, just under a year-ish. So I'm not an expert by any means, but when I get into an artistic hobby, I tend to go all in and do nothing else for sometimes months at a time. So I have done several of them. These three will be, I think, number 9, 10, and 11 for me. So I do have an idea of what I'm doing. Alright, and I'm just trying to push these up off of the bottom lip now. And smooth them as I go. Yeah, oh yeah, I've got several finished ones. Let's see. Who do I have behind me here? Oh, we'll grab Bunny Girl too. She's not totally finished, but she's mostly there. So, I've got Lenore, which if you're familiar with goth culture from the early 2000s, then you'll definitely be familiar with Lenore. She's my latest that I just finished. Let's see. I painted her eye chips. I carved her face. I rooted her scalp. I made her dress. She was one of my more intensive projects. I don't know. I think she's probably not visible on the camera behind me because they're so far back there, but I have only one other doll that I've rooted a scalp for so far. So this is Little Misfortune. Little Misfortune is an indie horror game, which is one of my favorite games. So I made Little Misfortune as a doll. And I did carve her, but I carved her teeth into the plastic. I hadn't really started using epoxy in my carving yet. So the only one that I did with epoxy carved or epoxy sculpted teeth in this style, I made for a friend, and I don't have her here anymore. So this is Fran Bow, also another indie horror game, which I am doing on my game streams on my channel right now because it's my favorite game of all time. So I made Fran's eyes as well, but I didn't do them right, so they're a little just a little bit creepier than I intended. But, you know, I'm going to fix them eventually. Now that I know what to do a little bit more and I know how to make them look better. And then this was actually my first doll that I made. So she has little sculpted teeth too. And this is Lilith, my little vampire girl. So I made some mistakes with her that I managed to hide in my painting, which I'm pretty proud of. Specifically, I used a sandpaper that was way too rough on her face when I was sanding her. And I couldn't get some of the scratches out, so I ended up putting little veins everywhere that was scratched. And now nobody can tell where the scratches are but me. So I think I did a pretty good job on her. Yeah, those are just the ones that I have on hand right now. Oh, and my bunny girl, who's not totally finished, but she's very nearly there. She also has an open mouth, but this was the first open mouth carving I did, and I did it way too big. So I ended up putting big old bunny teeth in there instead, because I thought that would be a cute way to fix my mistake. And she has actually articulated bunny ears. They have armature wire in them so I can pose them. So once I get her eye chips finished and put into her and get her freckles painted on, I will glue her scalp in and then I'll be able to pose her ears. Oh, thank you. Yeah, I've been doing painted face-ups on 18-inch dolls for years before I started doing these kinds of dolls. So I didn't come into it a total newbie, but it's a very, very different kind of experience working on plastic versus working on dolls with vinyl faces that you can't carve anything and you pretty much have to paint everything that you want on the faces. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of like this better because I like being able to carve the faces and get like a completely different face shape or mouth shape or nose shape or whatever I need to make a particular character. Alright, so this is the hardest part to get on camera, I think, because it's so tiny. But I just take my needle tool and kind of make a little line where I want to put a split between the teeth. And then very carefully carve it out. And I do mean carefully because this is such a small piece of clay. Like, the reason there's such a big piece behind it is that this is so small, if I push on it, it's just going to fall right through the back. So I put the big piece back there to kind of hold it in place so that I can have a little bit of wiggle room to push on things as I need to without shoving it out of the mouth. if that makes sense. I don't really know how to describe what I mean, but basically I have to be careful not to knock their teeth out as I'm carving them. Okay. This one's looking pretty good. So I'm going to do, because these are kind of big teeth, I may actually take just a little bit out of the sides and just kind of push it out and around. I don't know if I can get that on camera. This is the hardest thing because they're so tiny. I tried to record a tutorial the first time that I did this, and I just could not get... I couldn't get it in the camera view without my hands in the way. Let me also move my rag, and then maybe I can... Let's turn this back down. There we go. Alright, so I'm gonna kind of pull around the bottom to get that out. So these two are my twins. They just have generic faceplates right now, but they've kind of been serving as my little shop mascots. So I wanted to give them better faces. So I'm going to be doing this face for my green-haired twin, and then this face for my purple-haired twin. So other than the makeup, like the carving is basically, I'm trying to be as identical as possible because they are my little twins. Let me just see how this is coming. I'm going to take a little bit more off of the bottom. All right. I think smooth again. Smooth from the front, smooth across from the bottom, just to keep them from having any jagged edges. So I think this one is done. Got just a little peekaboo of teeth. So I'm going to set this one aside. Let me, I don't like that this one, I feel like this one is more forward than the other one. So I need to, oh, hang on a second. I got starlings attacking my bird feeder. Oh, fucking starlings. Starlings are an invasive species here, and they are absolutely a pest. They will empty an entire bird feeder in 10 minutes. But thankfully, they are very scared of people, so all you have to do is walk over to the door and they fly away. Alright. That's better. I feel like this tooth over here was sitting a little too far forward, so I just took my rounded back tool and kind of pushed it down and smoothed it out a little bit. So now I feel like they're sitting a little bit more evenly. Yeah. See, as I turn that, I don't feel like that one is sitting farther forward than the other anymore. So, okay. So I'm going to set this face aside for that to set. Okay. This one, since it's been sitting a little bit longer than the other one, should hopefully be even a little easier to work with now, because it should be pretty well set. And I should be able to carve it without smushing it. Just trying to smooth the liquid Sculpey into it. See, it's got a couple of little ridges, so I'm going to smooth those out before I start shaping. Alright, now start getting the right angle. And up from the bottom lip. Oh, this one's really stuck on there already. I probably should have pushed it off the bottom lip before I let it set. That's okay. That's what the needle tool is for. Okay. Just eyeball this before I turn it back around. Right, smooth. I did put a little bit of a scratch into the bottom, but I think I have fixed that. Okay. So I'm going to push these just a little bit back off of that top lip, just in the front here. With the rounded tool, and smooth again with this one. Kind of pull downwards. And this is how I kind of start to get a good shape. And push it off of the bottom. was a lot of liquid Sculpey leaking out of this one. Let me just give her a little wipe down with the rag really quick. Okay. I do feel like the liquid Sculpey is making a nice difference in how well they're sticking to the back, though. So I'm definitely going to be doing that again in the future. Really glad I bought that Nerdy Crafter kit from Jackie, because I keep using all the pieces in all of my other projects. Even after I finished my figurines. Okay. I gotta do this one off the camera because I have to be looking. I gotta get the center line. Oh, see, I still got it wrong, even looking at it. I have to do it while I have a good view of the nose and the philtrum, so that I can make sure that the teeth are nice and centered. Teeth are nice and centered. So, just gonna line up with the tip of the nose and the philtrum. There we go. Oh my gosh, it just keeps wanting to roll off of the lip. That should be good. Oop. Yeah, okay. And then turn it upside down and match the line on the front and the line underneath. Just kind of push a little bit more and more each time until it starts to have a pretty nice impression between the teeth. I think my lizard girl's teeth were actually easier because they were so pointed and they weren't just two teeth in the center. It's harder, I think, when there's just two and they have to be so perfectly centered, otherwise it's really obvious that they're crooked. So I'm just doing the exact same process of kind of grabbing from the side and scooping under. And that just sort of makes sure that not only that you're not scratching anything as you pull the clay out, but it also rounds the sides of the tooth so you don't have a super sharp corner on your tooth, because generally people don't have really sharp corners on their teeth. Okay, I'm definitely going to need to push these farther back because her teeth are sitting a lot farther forward than hers. So I'm going to do this. Since I need to push them pretty significantly. Let me get my, nope, where's the flat one? Here we go. Just keep pushing them back. And then I'm going to use the rounded one to kind of push the bottoms. I actually think I may need to take a tiny bit of clay off I think there might be just a little bit too much peeking out. So I'm going to very carefully, so that I don't scratch the face at all, just kind of cut off just a teeny tiny piece from the bottom of each tooth. And I think that's going to give me more room to push them backwards by removing some of that clay. And it's not even that this one was looking bad, because I think it was looking fine. It's just a matter of, I really do want them to be as identical as possible because they're twins. So I just don't want to have one have her teeth a lot farther forward in her mouth. Yeah, okay, I think this is going to work out better now that I took that little bit of clay out. So I'm just going to basically redo what I just did with all of the shaping and completely reshape them. Push them back a little bit. Push them up off of the bottom lip. Oops. And check again and make sure everything is still looking good. I think I can go even a little further back. So I'm going to take the rounded one. And I like using the rounded one because it pushes them back without putting any kind of lines or impressions because it's a round tool. It's flat enough that it doesn't like make weird round dents, but it's round enough that it doesn't leave any extra lines or crevices. Also, it can kind of reach underneath the lip because it's got that little scoop, which I find very handy. Alright, and smooth with the flat tool. Push up off of the bottom lip. I just want to push them further, but I'm afraid to smash them, so I'm going to reach in with the tippy tip of my X-Acto. Okay, I feel like that just did the trick, so let's see. Yeah, okay, so now I'm going to go back to smoothing. I think I just decided to make twins because I like to torture myself. So much harder to try and do two identical projects. All right, this should be good. So I'm going to try and put the middle line in again. Line it up with the nose and the philtrum. Eyeball it. Yep, I like that. Okay. And then join the lines underneath and in front. Ah, I just pushed underneath one of the teeth by accident. Oh. I shoved it upwards. There we go. Okay. All right, all smooth back down. Nobody will ever know the difference. Okay. So I'm just going to keep going. All right, and then I'm going to do the scoop from the sides. I think I might have taken too much again. It's so hard to do two exactly identical sculpts. Oh my gosh. Let's see if I can nudge that back over. There we go. All right. I feel like that looks pretty even. Definitely did take a tiny bit too much. Okay, well, it's still fixable. Oop, even that's going to be too much. So I'm going to take just the teeny tiniest, itty bittiest little piece of epoxy and kind of nudge that into the corner where I just pulled it out of. And thankfully there is still liquid epoxy in that corner, or not liquid epoxy, liquid Sculpey. So it should grab right back on to the clay that's already there. And then it's just a matter of smoothing it back out. All right, I'm going to try lifting off of the bottom lip with my angled tool instead. Oh, whoops. Alright, now let's fix that center line that got a little bit distorted by shoving everything around. I feel like we're nearly there on these two. Alright, there is a little bit of an indent on this tooth that I'm going to try and fix. I feel like I'm having the exact problem I had with the other one, where one of the teeth is just sitting slightly farther forward than the other. So let me see what I can do with my needle tool as far as nudging things in the right direction. So I'm just trying to kind of push it backwards as I pull my needle tool towards me, and then using my flat tool to sort of tuck the bit that I am pulling forward underneath. I still feel like I took too much off of this one, so I'm going to add even just another tiny little bit back onto that tooth. I don't know if I can, if you can, yeah, you can kind of see it by looking at it, that it's got a little bit too much of an indent at the top of this, the tooth on this side. So I'm going to fix that. And then these two should be done. It is looking a little dry, so I'm just going to take just a little bit of my liquid Sculpey here. Just get a little bit on the end of this tool. I'm just going to put that into the corner over here so that when I put this itty bitty little ball of clay in there, it's just going to stick right on. And I'm going to take even half of that ball off of there, because I would rather not put enough than put too much. I can always just keep adding, but every time I have to take it away, there's a risk that I'm going to take too much away again and have to start all over. So, alright, so that's sticking on really nicely. I have to restart my music here. Yep. Alright. Alright, so that is, I feel like this is looking perfect now. So I'm just going to do that little scoop around the bottom to kind of round out the edge of the tooth, so it's not so pointy. Recarve this little center line one more time. It's not 100% perfectly smooth, but I can flub a lot of that when I paint them. So, because obviously I'm not going to leave the teeth gray. So when I put the white onto the teeth, I'm going to be able to smooth out any itty bitty little imperfections. So as long as there's not like big noticeable lines, then we're good. I'm just trying to eyeball and make sure they're as identical as possible, and also that they're fully straight. I still feel like these two, this one is sitting a little bit lower. Alright, so I am satisfied with the teeth. So here's one. Here's the other. So I think I'm going to start sketching faces. So I'm going to sketch for about half an hour, because I've been going for just about an hour now. And then I'm going to sign off of here. I'm going to go record Visage. I'm going to finish Dolores's chapter. I feel like I probably have maybe half an hour of that to go. I'm not going to start the final chapter today. I'm just going to finish Dolores's chapter, and then I'll post the stream and the Visage video onto YouTube. And then tomorrow, at some point during the day, I may do another Frambeau stream. So, anyway, let's grab my sketchbook so I can put this in front of me while I work. And I did mark a little a little A for Abby so that I would know whose face is whose. Not that it really mattered, because up till this point they've been pretty much identical. So let's see. What I'm really going to focus on is these spider webs around the eyes. Okay, here's my black. All right. Let me think what the best way to do this is going to be. I think if I try to do the support lines first, that's probably going to be the easiest. I do want to very lightly put a little grid onto her face though, just so I can make sure that I'm keeping everything nice and even. Just going to go very lightly with my pencil. And her face has been primed with MSC, so I can sketch on it with pencils and watercolors, and none of it will be permanently stuck until I seal it. As of right now, anything can be washed off with soap and water. So I'm going to do this so that I can make sure I'm getting straight lines all the way across. Okay. So I've got just a little really light grid on there. That should help me, I think, get the lines all even. I'm also going to do just very lightly right down the middle. Just to help me keep everything from skewing to one direction or the other. This is definitely going to be the most complicated face look that I've done so far, other than maybe my reptilian girl where I literally sculpted scales onto her face. So I'm very nervous about starting this. I know I shouldn't be because her face is totally sealed. Like I can't ruin it. I can't stain it. I can't really do anything to hurt it. I kind of just have to go for it. All right, so the way that this one angles, it's going to go kind of right in between the horizontal and vertical. So I'm going to start with that one. And I think I want it to go most of the way to the temples. So and these watercolor pencils, these are my cheap ones from Michaels. These are honestly the best for sketching because they're not pigmented at all. So if I do need to wipe them off and erase them, like it doesn't make a gigantic mess. All right, so I'm going to leave that one. That looks good. I'm going to leave that and go to the other side and do the same thing. And just kind of keep it in the middle of the horizontal and vertical lines. And just go, oh, I didn't even notice, but I'm angling right towards this corner. So that gives me another point, another anchor point to work on, or work with, rather. Okay. Yeah. All right, I'm going to darken this one a little bit. Once I get them and I'm happy with them, I'm going to obviously make them darker. But for now, I just want them to be clear where they are. I'm probably actually going to do these in acrylic paint rather than with a pencil because that'll make them really bold and really stand out. But I'm going to do the purple shadow first. I think if I actually move my camera over here, that might be a better angle to see what I'm doing. Okay, so the next one. It's kind of the same distance from this horizontal line. So let's start about this distance down. Well, maybe a little bit less. Probably about half that distance. Yeah, I think that's probably good. Start here. And this one's kind of a shorter line, so shorter and a little bit curved. So I'm going to try and follow the curve of the cheek. I don't know why I chose a really complicated look like this. It was just, I really wanted to do some really cool graphic liner because Abby is my like super goth twin and I just wanted to do something really fun. But like, I get excited when I match my eyeliner wings. Like, this is not a makeup look that I have ever attempted before. I think I can manage it though. I'm pretty sure I can do this. All right, I think that's probably about the right length for that one. I'm going to leave it at that length for now and do the one on the other side. So probably about that distance. Yeah, okay. And follow the curve of the cheek. I think this one needs to be a little bit longer. That looks about right. Okay. So I'm going to do the long one next because the long one is going to be right about where this vertical line is. And then I'm going to do the one in between and then the shorter one on the inside. So let's do the long line. I'll put it maybe 1/8 of an inch, maybe 1/16 of an inch. Yeah, about 1/16 of an inch away from that vertical line. And it's going to be about the length that I drew that line. So still following the curve of the cheek. Yeah. Okay, I'm happy with that. Although, you know what? It is curving this way more than I want it to. Try to keep it the same distance away from that horizontal line the whole way down. Okay. Just clean it up a little. And then a little bit longer. Yeah, okay, that's better. Do the same thing on the other side. Start at about 1/16 of an inch away. Same length. Okay. So I'm going to do this one in between them now. And it's going to be halfway between and also halfway between the length. So I'm going to follow the curves here. Stop at about that length, I think. So do the same thing on the other side. I feel like I'm not making these ones long enough now. Alright, so that's about half of them. I'm going to do these inside ones and then start doing the connecting bits. Okay, I'll do the same, probably about a 1/16 of an inch. Well, maybe I'll go a little further because I want this one to... I think I want these ones to be in closer, yeah. The challenge when I make a mistake is to erase the watercolor pencil, but not the pencil. Okay. Same thing on the other side. That's about a 1/4 inch away from the last line. So a little bit longer. All right, so I know these ones are more curved. They're also thicker. So as I thicken them, I'm going to add a little bit of that curve in there. Just eyeball and make sure I'm happy with these. And I think I'm liking these, so I'm going to get rid of my grid. And then I'm going to use my damp rag and just kind of clean up all of the other areas. And then start adding all of the scaffolding lines. So I don't know if I did mention, I don't think I did mention this time, but the reason that I usually sketch out my grids with a pencil and then everything else with a watercolor pencil is because I can wipe away with the rag the watercolor pencil and it'll leave the pencil lines alone, or I can choose to erase the pencil lines and that will pretty much leave the watercolor pencil alone. It'll take up a lot of it, but it won't completely erase it. So basically I have a way to remove one but not the other when I use two different kinds of pencils. Whereas if I used all regular pencil or all watercolor pencil, it would be really hard to remove my grid lines without also removing all of these sketched out pieces. Okay, and just dab it dry. Oops, there was pastel on there. Need to grab a clean towel. Alright, clean paper towel. Good thing I'm giving her purple eyeshadow. Whatever didn't just come off with the water will end up getting covered in purple anyway. Okay. So I'm going to just really lightly sketch out the rest of these lines and also thicken them up and kind of start adding the curve back in. Oops. So I'm gonna basically add thickness and the curve all to the outside edge of these lines. And this is why placement is so important. Why I always like to add a little grid before I sketch anything really on a face. Because once you start thickening your lines, even a little bitty error one way in one direction or another becomes really obvious. Thicken it up just a little bit too much in that direction, so we'll clean that up in a second. All right, so that's about the thickness I'm going to want them. I'm not sketching them super dark because I'm going to go over them with acrylic paint. Just for now, want to get the shape right. So that I can have a base to put my purple eyeshadow, because I don't know how well it shows up on camera, but the look that I am using as my inspiration had color that really didn't extend out past any of the lines on the spider web, and I thought that looked really cool, so I want to try and do that. So obviously I need to have the spider web in place already to be able to know where to put the eyeshadow. Just doing this very slowly and carefully. I kind of feel like I made the point on this corner one a little bit too thick, so I'm gonna just kind of point that a little better. Where is my, where I put my mono zero? Here we go, my little mono zero eraser. And just clean up whatever doesn't get picked up by the water. Okay, there we go. Had another nice sharp point. I have not had enough to drink to be slurring my words. I have a minor speech impediment. It just happens sometimes. Okay. So it's the last one. All right, so I'm going to start connecting everything up here. And I'm going to start with these inner corners, I think. Since there's only one connecting line, it really needs to be symmetrical to look good. All right, I'm just going to come right from the corner of the eye. So bring this right to the corner. Okay, I'm happy with that. I'm never confident in my ability to draw a spider web, but I know I can do them. It's just, they don't need to be perfect, but like when it's a makeup look on a face, I feel like it's more important to be symmetrical. All right, turn it upside down. And I want to go from where this one connected, which is here, to the bottom of this one. No, I need to bring this bit up a bit more. Yeah, okay. So I grab my rag and fully erase. And then repoint that. And clean it up with the eraser. Okay, so I think those are looking good. Thank you. Yeah, I'm just gonna go really slow and just pace myself here. I think that's gonna be the key. It's mostly just nerves. I know that it's not really a super difficult thing to draw, but I just, because these two are like my two favorite dolls to photograph, like I just want to make sure that I get it right so they can keep starring in my doll photography. Okay. Also, I feel bad because I did try when I first got Abby to carve her face, and I kind of messed it up, and she's got like a deep groove in her nose, and I wasn't happy at all with how her lips came out, so I think that's why I picked a really, really intricate look for her, and I want to do it really well because I messed up her first faceplate. And I'm determined I'm going to get this one right. Alright, so about that high, I think. Okay, that one's good. Next. Do the same height here. Okay, same height here. Oh, no, I think I need to go up a little bit more. Yeah. get this cleaned up. All right. I feel like this vertical line is a little closer together, but I'm not going to worry about it. I think it's going to be okay. Okay. It does not need to be perfect. Sometimes it's just like that art OCD kind of a thing. Like, I legitimately have OCD sometimes with my art where I will go back and fix things that didn't really need to be fixed until a point where I've completely ruined a project. So sometimes it's just me getting in the way, and I just have to look at it and go, you know what? It looks fine. I'm just not going to touch it. So I'm trying to do that right now. Okay, and then this big long one. This I think is going to be the most awkward just because it's not remotely the same size or proportion as the other web pieces. So we'll just go extra slow. Oh, I'm getting a lot of glare. That's because my overhead lighting is not competing with the outside light and the ring light well. I'm losing all of my outside light. And I have a very cheap webcam, which doesn't do well in dim lighting. Okay. Alright, that's pretty good. Okay. Do the other side. Let me just eyeball it before I swap over. Just so I can try and start it. Oh, hiccups at the same angle. Okay, all right, yes, that's the outside connecting lines down. Go the next one up. And I only have 2 on my sketch, but because the faceplate is, I'm working with a narrower pencil here, I think I can probably, I might even be able to do 2. And then when I paint them, I'm just going to use, well, I don't know if it's over here, but I use like a nail art liner brush, which gets really, really good teeny tiny itty bitty lines. Alright, I'm just going to do all of the second lines the same distance from those first lines. This one I think needs to come more this way. Alright. That came out pretty good. Okay, next one. So I'm going just over 1/4 of an inch, maybe about 3/8 of an inch above the other lines. Alright, I need to clean up this little corner here. Oop. Let me just throw the face around. Oh no, I got green on it from her hair. There we go. Okay, all clean. All right. One more. Okay. I'm pretty happy with that. I think I'm actually not going to do a third line just because I still am going to be doing like a thick liner around the outer edge of the eye. So I think I'm going to be done with the web. All right, I'm going to sketch out her lips while I have the black out, and then I'm going to do her eyebrows very, very lightly. Let's see. Oh, bring this corner down just a little bit. Just doing a little bit of cross hatching here, just so I can see where I'm laying this color down. And as I finish up the sketch, I'm just gonna throw another layer of MSC over everything before I add any shadows or anything onto her eyes. And then that way my sketch is totally sealed in place, so I'll be able to cleanly add the shadow to her eyes and not have to worry about erasing anything if I need to clean any areas up. Just getting the last of my grid lines off here. I would normally put a whole new grid on to do eyebrows, but I'm only giving her the half eyebrows, and I have my little upper web lines to use as guides. So I think I probably don't need those. Let me check my color really quick. Oh, that's too yellow. So I'm going to grab my other watercolor pencils with a better color selection here. And I don't remember which one was the minty color. Okay. So I'm just going to very, very lightly sort of sketch out the size and shape that I'm going to want the eyebrows to be. So I'm going to actually use finger as a guide. And now I have just a very light green line. I'm going to go slightly to one side and slightly more to the other side. And then bring them up into a bit of a point. And then that's going to be my eyebrow shape. So I'm going to do the same on the other side. finger as a guide. Get a little bit of a line there. Whoops, that one went on a little bit of a curve. That's okay. I'll just add a little bit less on top than on the bottom on that side. And then I'm going to add to that point just gradually on each side until both of them match. And this is honestly, eyebrows are probably my least favorite, because this is where having OCD does not come in handy in an artistic situation. But it is like legitimate. I have OCD. Like, I'm not just saying, haha, I have OCD. It's so funny. It's something that, like, if I don't distract my mind from, will literally bother me all the time. Like, I still think about projects that I feel like I could have fixed if I would have just done something a little bit differently. And, you know, these are projects that I've already sold and moved on from, and I still obsess over them sometimes. So it's not healthy. But generally I get over it. It's rare that I have a project that really lingers with me. Okay, I'm just lightening these a little bit because I don't want to have harsh lines for them. I'm really just sketching them on at this stage. So I'm just kind of using my damp rag to take as much off as I can so that there's just the tiniest little faint shadow. And that's what I'm going to leave for this. Okay, that's all right, because actually I'm at about an hour and a half now, and I'm going to be finishing for the day. I just wanted to get the eyebrows on. So, you see how there's just a little bit of a shadow on there? So that's what I'm going to come back to next time. Next time I come to work on her, I can just fill those in. And then hopefully next time I'm going to get Effie done too. So, actually that's going to be it for today. Yeah, because I'm at an hour and a half, and that's as long as I wanted to go for today. Okay, so the plan for this week, I'm going to actually sign off today. I'm going to go do that, you know, a half hour to finish my chapter in Visage, and then I will post both the stream and the Visage video to YouTube. And then I will hopefully be doing another Franbo stream this weekend. I'm just not sure when this weekend. I may try and do it during the day tomorrow, actually, just to get it out of the way, because I have other birthday plans this weekend. This is my first birthday that I don't have to be in quarantine, so I'm kind of doing a lot. So let's see. Yeah, I'm also on YouTube as Spooky Doll Lady, so feel free to follow me over there as well. All of my previous streams are uploaded on YouTube already. My streams that I do now, I currently will upload them usually the next day. So this one will probably be up there tomorrow. See. Yeah, that's that's all I have for today. So thanks for joining me. And I will maybe see everybody for Franbo tomorrow.